And good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. I am Richard the Razor Ewing. My counterpart here to the left of me is none other than Matt, none the wiser wise. And if you're clued in right now, you just put your game face on. We're glad that you came in with us. We're glad to have you. So, Matt, as you know me, before I get started, I got to go to the questions.
Hit him.
So, if you're trying to deal with daylight saving time hangover, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to stay dry from hell and storms, then you're on the wrong podcast. Look, this is GameFace. And when we're on GameFace, what we do is we cover sports here in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we also cover sports on a national level. And if you came in, you put your game face on, and we're glad to have you. So, Matt, what do we got?
Well, free agency has started in the NFL. The NFL, there's a Saint that has retired from the NFL this year. We got Warriors action going. They beat the Jazz. They're going tonight against the LA Lakers. Spring training's heating up. A's and Giants, they're both exactly 500. So there's a lot going on. We got March Madness starting up. So that's going to be exciting. Fill out your brackets. Get them ready.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something. I have not filled out a bracket for college hoops probably since 1983.
I do it just for fun. I mean, I don't ever put anything on it because I don't watch the game that much, the college game.
Yeah.
But I do it just for fun because it's just fun to do. And usually I'm way off.
Yeah, me too. That's the reason why I don't do it though, because it's just too many teams. There's too many guys. You know, what do we know? This is, like you said, March Madness. You're looking at 68 teams that go to what's considered to be the big dance, and it is pretty unique in the fact that when you look at the whole structure of the NCAA basketball college system, there is well over 6,000 schools across the country. And all of those 6,000 schools, only 68 get selected. And when they get selected to go to what's considered to be the NCAA tournament. What a lot of people don't know is that the NCAA tournament, when it first started off, was actually very small. As a matter of fact, at that particular time, the NIT, or the National Invitational Tournament, was the big show. But things have flip-flopped. Now the NCAA is big and NIT is small potatoes. But you're right, that is going on right now. As a matter of fact, we have no one from the Pac-12. I should say, well, no, we got some schools from the Pac-12, but we have no one locally here in the Bay Area, with the exception of Tara Vanderbilt, Stanford women, representing the Bay Area. But the men's teams, oh my goodness, we couldn't even get out of the gate.
No, Bay Area is not too hot in collegiate hoops right now. So yeah, thank you, Tara Vanderveer. You keep harping on her. You keep bringing her up. I know your affection towards her. So yeah, shout out Stanford women. Let's go.
Yeah, right. So we're going to jump into free agency. And one of the reasons why is because that's just a hot topic right now. I mean, you got all these different teams. The great Drew Brees has said goodbye to the NFL and to the league. I'm sure he's going to be. As a matter of fact, I found out today that he did accept a position with NBC Sports. He is going to be a color commentator for them. So he is still going to be close to the game, just not on the field anymore. You look at Drew Brees, you look at everything he's done. And I think one of the things that kind of stood out to me was that the fact that you look at Drew Brees before he came to New Orleans and he was playing for the Chargers. And I will say this, he was putting up significant numbers for the Chargers. But before he went to New Orleans, who was New Orleans?
They weren't a competitor year in and year out.
No. They had a decent defense, but they did not have much of an offense. And as decent as the defense was, it wasn't like they could totally shut down the perimeter teams. The premier team, excuse me. So what really occurred and really what happened is that eventually the migration to New Orleans happened because San Diego, for whatever reason, didn't want to play Drew Brees. And to this day, they have eating their own hat on that decision, okay? Because I mean, don't get me wrong, they picked up I don't know
Phillip
why.
Rivers.
Yeah, they picked up Phillip Rivers, which, like I said, that's not a bad pickup because Phillip Rivers is a great quarterback too. But I still think that had they kept Breeze, they could have continued to use that product, and they probably could have put that into something. But we'll never know because eventually they traded him away, and he ended up going to New Orleans. And then you look at the fact that what he was able to accomplish there. So my question for you is this, Matt. When you look at Drew Brees and you look at the top quarterbacks in the NFL, is he in the top 10 or is he in the top 25?
Top 10's gonna be probably pushing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say more likely gonna be in the top 25. Here's the thing for me with Drew Brees is I've had the privilege of watching him from his days at Purdue all the way through the professional ranks, and his accuracy, his arm, I mean, has always been the top. His accuracy was the thing that he was touted for coming out of college because he wasn't the biggest quarterback. But you know, the thing I love about Drew Brees and why it's a sad day for the NFL in general is because he's a man that he did it the right way. Like when the whole controversy going on leaving the Chargers, you know, I don't remember him stepping out of character, doing anything fishy, you know. It was just business and he moved on and he did it the right way. And so I commend a player like that. Top 25, in my opinion. I don't know if I go as high as top 10, but definitely top 25. But I will tell you, I do think he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'd almost, Richard, be willing to put money on it that he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if I was going to do that and put money on Drew Brees getting into Hall of Fame, I would be doing it on betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. The NBA is in full swing. College basketball, we are moving into March Madness. The schools are on their way. The madness is coming. The tournament is coming. And so is the $100,000 Bracket Madness contest at betonline.ag. It is the spot for all your bracketology needs. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, odds, everything you need. So head to the website betonline.ag on your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your sports book experts.
There you go. Okay, so if you think you got what it takes to pick a winner, hey, you can go to BetOnline AG and see if you can get it done. I personally wouldn't be able to get it done because, like I said, I don't gamble. Two, I just can't pick them. I don't have it in me. But, you know, I think about, we were talking about, you know, Drew Brees and whether or not he's the first time he's in the top 10. I do see him in the top 10, but I see him coming in at number 10. And the reason being is because you have to look at what a quarterback does on the field, but you also have to consider what he does off the field, okay? And so my whole deal is that I look at what he has done for the city of Louisiana. You know, when Katrina hit, you know, he was very, very not only vocal, but also he was a man of action in helping the city of Louisiana get back on their feet. You know, you also realize that, you know, he was also a person that when he made mistakes, he came back and he apologized for those mistakes. You had the Black Lives Matter movement going on, and he came out and made a statement. And the statement he made, you know, wasn't received well by the Black community. So he came out and he basically apologized for what he said. And that takes a big character of a person to do something like to admit when they're wrong and to come out and apologize. Then you look at, you know, the fact that he's been an MVP. He's also won a Super Bowl. And that takes, you know, it takes a lot to be able to do that. So I bring him in at number 10 in the top 10.
You're tripping. You're tripping. I can't do it. As you were talking, I was listening. I was giving you the respect that you were due on your point of view, but you're tripping because I wrote down just really, really quickly. Is Drew Brees better than Peyton Manning?
Well, no, because Peyton Manning
Okay.
accomplished
All
a
right.
lot
So
more than good.
there's one guy ahead of him. Let's go. Joe Montana,
Well, of course not.
Steve Young.
No.
All right.
So that's only three.
Troy. Okay. That's it. But Troy Aikman,
No.
Bart Starr, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Eli
Wait a minute.
Manning.
Whoa. What did you say, Jim Kelly?
Jim Kelly.
I might give him the nod.
You might. Okay, but I mean, that's just what I rambled off the top of my head. There's way better. That's way better quarterbacks that I didn't even list.
But that's still only 7.
Okay, Brady's not even on that list. Not even on that list.
Well, Brady's on the list and he's number 1. So let's keep it like that. Okay. You don't think so? You don't think Brady's number 1?
Oh no, absolutely. I just don't know if I could put Drew Brees in the top 10. I think he's hovering there somewhere in between 15 and 20, to be honest with you.
Okay. And don't give
great quarterback, great career, and he deserves all the accolades and everything, because the man, I mean, like you said, he's just done it right. He's done it the right way on and off the field for what he's meant for the game and the organizations that he's played for. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, that's your pick. That's all right. Okay. So why don't we shift gears and let's go into baseball, because we both got our caps on here. We're representing the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants, for the most part, I don't know about you. Let me ask you. We've seen they're 6 of 6, so they're playing 500 right now. They're in the Cactus League still. But so far, what do you like and what do you dislike?
Well, what I'm impressed by, to be quite honest with you, is their hitting. Looking at the spring training stats, the Giants are the 9th team in Major League Baseball in hitting. So for me, that's huge, because for the flip-flop, the reverse, pitching, they're not that high. They're not as high as 9th. So it's, they're 20th, their ERA in pitching. So I would figure that their pitching would be better, because they're not, expending lots of innings on each pitcher. A lot of the pitchers, a lot of the games, it seems like everybody's getting about an inning or so. They're starting to ramp up into giving some of these starters some heavier innings, which will be kind of exciting to see. But I'll tell you what I am super impressed about in spring training is you got Joey Bart in the Cactus League is hitting 400 right now. He's about 4th or 5th on the team in batting average. And then you have a center fielder, and I've never heard of him. I had to look him up. He was 2017's first round pick. He was the 19th pick in that draft. And I'm probably saying it wrong. Elliot Ramos. He's got a 435 average with 3 home runs, center fielder. So I'm really kind of excited about some of these young guys. I know that they have the core that they want at some of the positions. Some of the positions are up in the air, but I'm really, really excited, and I'm kind of impressed at the way they're swinging the bat early on.
Okay, so we talked about SF. What about Oakland?
Oakland 7-7. I bagged on Oakland early in the year, and I listened to their skipper on the radio, and I bagged on them because they had a lot of old guys. Mm-hmm. And then now looking at their lineup and looking at their roster, man, they really, really do have a good mix of young talent and veteran leadership, veteran guys that have kind of been there that are going to be the consistent, what you're going to get out of them. So they got a really, really strong team. I'm actually really excited. They're 12th in the league in hitting. So they're a few places behind the Giants, and they're 16th in the league in ERA. So their arms of pitching's been pretty good. I'm excited to see the A's and what they're going to do this year in the American League. Probably a little bit more so than I am, honestly, about seeing how far of a run the Giants are going to make because of the division that the Giants are in. It's a tough division, but I'm getting excited, man. I really, really am. I'll tell you that. The smile on my face is okay. I can't contain it.
Okay. So we talked about Drew Brees. We kind of got away from free agency. I want to go back into this because as you know, I did text you earlier, and my guy Kendrick, the Bourne identity is gone. He is no longer a 49er. He is now a New England Patriot. We saw Kyle Juszczyk get a 5-year deal worth $27 million, and
got paid.
He
as
got
a
paid.
fullback. Dude got paid.
Right. And we also right that he is the highest paid fullback in the NFL right now. We also
well deserved. Well deserved, in my opinion.
It is well deserved because he is an all-purpose back. I mean, he can pretty much do it all. He blocks well. He runs the football well. He can catch out of the backfield. No question. This was well deserved, well earned. You and I were both sweating because we didn't know what was going to happen to Jason Verrett, and come to find out he just got signed for 1 year, $5.5 million. And if he goes to the Pro Bowl, then he gets $6.5 million. So we don't have to sweat that for at least another year. So that's good because they need strength at the cornerback position. No question about that. They lost a lot of casualties to free agency. I don't see a Keller Witherspoon coming back. Richard Sherman's gone. They needed that. That was a big signing. But no question, the biggest signing they need to get done, they still haven't got this done, is Trent Williams. They have got to sign him, because this is kind of back to what I was saying before, and that is that if you have your plan, you have to make sure that all the pieces are put together so that the plan can flow well. What do we know? You've already made it very clear, okay, that Garoppolo is going to be the guy, okay? And if Garoppolo is going to be the guy, and I've been saying this for several shows, you've heard me recite this over and over, you have to make sure the offensive line is intact, because if it isn't, you're going to have the same thing happen to Garoppolo that happened last season to Nick Mullins. He's going to be running for his life, and in some cases, he may even get injured because, those pressures are going to be coming at full speed. So getting Williams signed, in my opinion, is job one.
Yeah, number one, I'm really, really encouraged and really excited that the 49ers did kind of address some of the issues in the secondary. You mentioned it with Jason Verrett on that 1 year deal. I think he definitely earned that with his play last year. But they also gave Emmanuel Mosley a two year deal. So they do have some extra pieces in that secondary. I am excited. They did restructure Dee Ford's contract, I heard. Which means that he's coming back for a little bit less. So it's going to allow them to spend a little more money. They did pick up a defensive end from the Rams.
Yeah.
Samson Ebukam, I believe.
I know it's hard to pronounce. Don't try.
But you know what? Hey, I'll give it a go. And so that's interesting because that now I wonder what's going to kind of happen with Kerry Hyder Jr. But you do need pieces at defensive end. It probably, that kind of tells me they probably won't draft a defensive end like some of the rumors have been and floating around. So, they're making some moves. I'm super excited. What does make me nervous, and you nailed it, was Trent Williams. What's going to happen? The longer it takes to sign him, the more nervous I'm going to be that he's out there on the market and that it's going to cost the Niners a lot to get them, and they may not have that much at that point. I don't know, but they got to make something happen, because you're right. If Jimmy's coming back, you got to keep him healthy, and to keep him healthy, you got to put a line in front of him so that he could stand there and make the throws that he needs to make and get through the progressions that Shanahan wants him to get through. So they have to figure it out. It's got to happen soon, hopefully.
And we got to be realistic. There are some teams out there that could pay Williams, some money. I mean, I couldn't believe how much money I saw the Patriots paid in one day. $202 million. Are you kidding me? In one day, that's how much money they spent on free agency. When you do that, do
you think Belichick's pissed that Tom Brady won the Super Bowl? That's what that tells me. Belichick is like, I am making a run. And if if I have my say, I'm going to put together a team that's not going to let Tom Brady get to the Super Bowl. If he does, he's out. He's done. I mean, Belichick seems pissed spending that much money.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing is, it also sends a message to the AFC and to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. They basically are saying, guess what? You know what? We are going after the AFC title. Okay, and guess what? We're gonna pull all stops out to get it done by any means necessary. And oh, by the way, I couldn't help believe it. And this is the psychological part of being in the NFL. They are already restructuring Patrick Mahomes' contract. I can't believe it. The guy takes you to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and you restructure his contract. I'm like, wow, what? Man, I don't know about you, but if I'm Mahomes, I feel like I got kicked in the teeth right now. I mean, I'm like, because but the thing is you look at New England and you look at Kansas City, and to even get to the Super Bowl, your franchise gets paid pretty well. Okay, if you get there, you ain't got to win it. All you got to do is get there. If you get there, you're still going to get paid well. Okay. Now you look at the fact that Kansas City was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They're in the Super Bowl this last year, and you got to tell me that you don't have enough money to finish off that man's contract. In other words, you wrote that $500 million contract. Patrick didn't write it. Okay, so why are you restructuring him? Well, because in the NFL, we know what it stands for. Not for long. And so it's like, hey, as big as that contract was, guess what? Patrick, if you don't, I tell you right now, if the Chiefs don't get to the second round of playoffs, mark my words, they're going to be a memory, and so will Patrick Mahomes. That's sad to say, but I'm just telling it like it is. I'm putting it out there.
I mean, that's a bold prediction, predicting that they wouldn't make it far in the playoffs. But
no, wait a minute. I'm not saying that they're not going to make it. I'm saying if they don't.
Oh, no, it would be a nightmare. And they'd have to retool. And then you have to wonder, where are they going to get the money to get the players they need to fill the roster positions they're going to need? Because they do have a lot of money locked up in Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey. So, yeah, but they spend money. They got a Tooney, I believe, a guard, offensive lineman. So they're putting pieces together around keep Mahomes upright and making those ridiculous throws. So they'll be all right.
Okay, all right. So we're going to shift gears to the Golden State Warriors, because the Warriors came out to the All-Star break, and we had representation for the GSW out there on the floor. Great representation. Steph Curry had a phenomenal game. Not only that, but in the skills challenge, won the three-point shootout again. Second time he's won it. Dedicated to Klay Thompson. And they still had a situation where they were coming off, ending the season with 3 straight losses. They come in the second half of the season, they drop another one. And so now they dropped 4 straight, and you're now trying to figure out, okay, what can this team do? And it got so frustrating that even Steph Curry himself came out and just basically sent a message to the team, letting them know, hey, look, we cannot do this. We cannot allow these losses to continue to happen. And so what happens? All of a sudden, everybody wakes up, okay? They get on the floor against the best team in the league, the best team in the league in the Utah Jazz. That's even hard to even say right now, but it is. They are the best team. And against the best team, what do? Handed them an L. And it was a convincing L.
And the Warriors had your magic potion of 5 players in double figures. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Warriors, going into the All-Star break, the Warriors were tired. Coming out, I think they were still a little tired. You're right. In the Clippers game, Steph did something that he usually doesn't do on the court or around his team, and he kind of was barking at him to do some things better in that Clippers game, because a lot of things weren't going right. And it's one of those moments, that's one of those things Steph kind of doesn't do very often. Now, if that was Draymond Green, it'd be like, oh, that's Draymond again. There he goes, Dre being Dre. But Steph did it kind of, I think it proved a point. Then you see him come out against the Jazz and just play some beautiful basketball. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. They did everything right. And you got some great contributions from some of your young players. Jordan Poole kicked in, I think, 18 points or something, 19 points. So yeah, that was big. They have a tough kind of an easy stretch coming up after this Lakers game tonight. They'll have Houston, Memphis, and then the 76ers. So it's going to be interesting. They're at the bottom of the division in the standings, and it's time to make some moves and to get some wins.
And speaking of make some moves, we're coming up on the trade deadline too. So there's probably going to be some moves. I wouldn't be surprised. I know you don't want to hear this. I wouldn't be surprised after the way Wiggins played last night. I wouldn't be surprised if that would be a promotion to sell him to another team. And I know you don't want to see that because you like Andrew Wiggins. And by the way, he did have a phenomenal game the other night. I got to tip my hat to him. I was impressed. I was like, wow, 28 points. That was. But see, this is the problem I have with Wiggins. I call him wind up Wiggins. All right. The reason why I call him that, because he's like that little wind up doll, right? You wind it up, you sit down, also, oh, he's alive, he's moving around. Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, click, and now he's just sitting there. Like he's not doing anything. You're just going, it's frustrating. It really is. You didn't have Wanamaker out there. You had Nico Mannion, which actually played well. And yeah, I think going down to the G League for Jordan Poole was a good thing. I think that's something that just woke him up. I think he realizes now basically that he's up here. He's realizing, hey, every opportunity I got to take advantage of because I don't know when my last one's going to be. And that's the type of response. I keep touching my nose. I'm trying to stop myself from sneezing here. This is how live TV is. Okay.
I thought you were trying to stop from crying because
no, I'm trying to
emotional
about
I'm
trying to stop myself from sneezing. So I don't want to sneeze right here. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, Jordan Poole going down there helped his game because he was able to stretch himself. I'm still waiting to see if they're gonna bring up Jeremy Lin. I would love to see that. I would love to see it. It's probably not gonna happen, but I would love to see it. Now,
no, I think it's out of the question with Jordan Poole and Nico Mannion coming up. I mean, you don't need that another point guard or two. So yeah, it's tough, but it would be kind of cool, nostalgia, throwback.
Yeah. But I think, when you have a game like they played last night, that's the type of game they got to do night in and night out. And I think that's the hardest part for this team. They don't have the consistency night in and night out. And I think that's something that you're probably going to see next season. People are talking about James Wiseman today. I heard a lot of talk about him. And I've already said that, Wiseman is going to be a beast. I've said that. You have to look at the fact that, oh my goodness, next season, he's gonna have full practice sessions. He's gonna have summer league. He's gonna have where they do the developing part. He's gonna be spending more time with that team. They're gonna get the full expression of what this man can do with the basketball. And I tell you right now, if he gets in the weight room with a strength and conditioning coach, oh my God, look out. Now you know what you have? You have Wiseman 2.0 coming out on that floor. And he's going to remember everybody he played against, what they did, what they didn't do. And guess what? I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing guys like Joker, guys like Embiid, all those other guys getting posterized by this kid. Because he already has a skill set. And he's only 19. And he ain't in the league that long.
With 3 collegiate games. So, he's coming out with playing high school level competition, get 3 college games, and then now you're in the pros at 19.
Wow.
At 19, I couldn't even comb my hair correctly, That's why hats were amazing. I could just hide it, but
hey, go grab the hat. You ain't gonna miss with that.
This man, he's going to be scary. I keep hearing a comparison of all these young guys that came in the league, like Kevin Garnett, and other young stars that came in, and they're saying James Wiseman's numbers are well exceed any of those guys that came in, like the Kobe Bryants, the Kevin Garnetts that came into the league young.
Right.
That his numbers are already exceeding that. So, we're only scratching the surface with him. It's super exciting. Next year, it's going to be, you're right, because he's going to have a full year under his belt, a full off season. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. By the way, we had a Klay Thompson sighting in the game the other night. You see that?
Yeah.
And guess what? They're saying he's out of the boot. They're saying he's running on the heel and he's taking shots. Okay, we gotta go. But before we go, just a reminder for you guys: if you go to YouTube and you subscribe with us, you will get an official GameFace T-shirt. Looks just like this one. And if you can see behind Matt there, he has them in blue. Okay. These are cool t-shirts. We're going to give them to you. Just when you subscribe, leave your contact information so we can send you your t-shirt. And by the way, we got A's and Giants t-shirts coming. And I did talk to you last week about getting those San Jose Sharks t-shirts coming too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so see, if you subscribe, you can be live wearing one of these. And that's going to do it for our show today. He's Matt, none the wiser, wise. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. This is GameFace. You can come in and put your feet up. You can sit down and have a drink. But if you do, you better have your game face on.